Gus is the gold standard of professionalism, silence, and discipline. Heisenberg needed a miracle and a crazy old man with a bomb to take him down. But what happens if we pit him against the greatest minds in film and TV history?
Make a list.
Before we start, let's break down our levels. S tier, God of strategy. These people pressed the button 35 minutes before Gus even entered the building. Gus's scale is just an internship for them. A tier, world-class professionals. They are capable of calculating Fring's steps, finding his hidden emotions, and hitting the target precisely. B tier, bloody draw. This will be a stalemate. There will be no winners. Both will destroy each other's assets and likely end up in the same ditch. C tier, Gus will cut them with a box cutter. Smart guys, but they love drama, pathos, and attention too much. Gus will destroy them simply because they are interfering with his work schedule. D tier, pure half measures. Those who consider themselves cool players until they face the reality of Fring's industrial coldness. Let's start with one of the most greatest manipulators in television history, Peter Baelish. Littlefinger is used to feeling like a god of intrigue in Westeros. But why? Because there, he plays against honest knights who chop each other's heads off due to rules of etiquette and codes of honor. In Westeros, chaos is a ladder because the lords are too emotional. But Albuquerque is not Winterfell, and Gustavo Fring is not Eddard Stark. What is the essence of Littlefinger? He whispers in ears, he pits people against each other using their personal attachments, lust, or greed. The problem is that Gustavo Fring is a locked steel safe. He has no vices that Baelish could play on. Gus doesn't visit Littlefinger's brothels. Gus doesn't take bribes for status. Fring is a cold machine of logistics and distribution. When Littlefinger tries to offer Gus his help in solving problems with the cartel, Gus's first move will be to ask Mike for a full report on his financial flows and contacts. Littlefinger thinks in Kaz, while Gus thinks in order. Any chaotic movement in Fring's business attracts the attention of the DEA, the feds, or the German bosses from Madrigal. Gustavo Fring will destroy Baelish simply because he creates too much noise. I don't give this character much credit. I don't think he would even get close to Gus. I would put Petter Baelish in tier D.
Chaos isn't a pit. Chaos is a ladder.
The Joker. Now, this one is actually very, very difficult because we are pitting perfect order against chaos. In Breaking Bad, Gus always wins because his enemies are predictable. Even Heisenberg was rational in his thirst for power for a long time. But what would Gustavo do with a man who doesn't care about money? Fring controls people through two levers: greed and fear. You can't offer the Joker a suitcase of cash. He'll burn it to send a message. You can't scare him with torture or death. He finds it fun to look down the barrel of a gun. This completely resets Fring's business model. Gustavo is a grandmaster planning 10 steps ahead, but you cannot plan a game if your opponent suddenly eats his own pieces and sets the board on fire. Gus might try to build a complex operation to clean up Gotham. Mike will find the hideout, set up professional snipers, but by the time they pull the triggers, it will turn out that the Joker has already blown up the central distribution base of Los Palos Hermanos just to watch the polite owner of the chicken shacks lose his cool. The Joker flies into tier B. In this war, there are no winners. Gus will lose his empire, and the Joker will simply get another dose of chaos.
How about a magic trick? I'm gonna make this pencil disappear. Ta-da!
Now we move to true intellectual dominance. Standartenführer Hans Landa. This man is a true prophet in the world of investigators. If Landa worked for the DEA, the story of Heisenberg and Gus would have ended in the pilot episode. Gus Fring's entire shield is his ordinariness, a disguise as a boring manager who cleans the tables himself. To the average agent, he is a saintly philanthropist. But Hans Landa is a man who finds Jews under floorboards. He specializes in reading faces, in finding cracks in a flawless disguise. Landa would walk into Fring's diner, order chicken, and in the process of a single polite conversation at the register, he would calculate Gustavo's entire inner being. Landa doesn't look for evidence, he finds the truth. His manner of asking uncomfortable questions, turning them into a friendly joke, is the perfect poison against Gus's guardedness. Fring is a professional. He knows how to keep silent, but Landa loves silence. He dissects it. He will find the smallest inconsistencies in the story of the man from Chile, things that even the series Better Call Saul didn't finish explaining. And he will start pulling those threads while continuing to smile politely and praise the crispy breading. Gustavo Fring will feel an animal fear he hasn't felt since meeting Don Eladio by the pool. To survive against Landa, Gus would have to hire an entire battalion, but Landa works on behalf of the state. Gus's empire will be eaten with exquisite manners. This is a 100% tier S. Landa sees the monster behind the very first Good day. No options here.
You know something, you rich? I think this just might be my masterpiece.
Now, let's move to James Moriarty. Specifically the BBC version, I just like it more. Moriarty is damn smart. He plays on the weaknesses of institutions and systems. He calls himself a consulting criminal. It would seem he is the perfect opponent for Fring. But there is one but. James Moriarty is a deeply infantile personality. He suffers from the same ailment as Walter White, an acute lack of attention and a desire to be recognized as a genius. He is bored. He builds plans for the sake of the beauty of those plans, for the sake of theatricality. He needs riddles, calls, taunts, and a complex finale. Gustavo Fring is the most unsuitable person in the world for such games. If Moriarty starts sending Fring mysterious phones with arias or setting up quests in downtown Albuquerque, Gus won't play them. He is not Sherlock. He is not attracted by intellectual curiosity. Fring is a businessman of the world of death. While Moriarty spends millions to prove his genius and put on a grand show, Gus Fring will simply calculate the digital footprint of his activity and send a hitman with a garrote or a bullet to the head while Moriarty eats his breakfast. I give him tier C. For the unnecessary drama, Gus will simply fire him via a bullet to the head.
Now I've got to go back to playing with the ordinary people. And it turns out you're ordinary, just like all of them.
Now Frank Underwood. A very interesting case. Frank is a shark from the world of politics. He destroys people in Congress using blackmail and legislative levers. He considers himself the king of the jungle. Against him is Gus Fring. And this is where harsh reality sets in. Frank is used to fighting people who have reputations, families, and images. Gustavo Fring exists in the world of shadows. Frank might try to initiate an investigation against the diner chain or start a federal audit through Madrigal, but Gus Fring is a man whose infrastructure was built over decades with such checks in mind. At some point, Frank Underwood will realize that his blackmail doesn't work on a person who has no emotional attachments. Gustavo will invite Frank to a private dinner, offer the best Chilean wine, and politely say that he has audio recordings of all of Frank's secret negotiations in the Oval Office. And while Frank is thinking about how to save his career, his personal security service will simply stop answering calls. Underwood is too attached to the system. Gus owns the system as a tool. A box cutter to the neck in this case would simply be the finale of another corporate optimization. I put him in tier C.
Any pugilist worth his salt knows when someone's on the ropes, that's when you throw a combination to the gut and a left hook to the jaw.
Now John Doe from the movie Seven. John Doe hunts for mortal sins. He is a fanatic who wants to turn a victim's life into a terrible lesson. But John Doe would make the most fatal mistake. He would try to evoke a sense of guilt in Gustavo Fring. Have you ever seen Gus Fring feel guilty? No. A man who planned revenge against Don Eladio for years, watching as a hitman shot his partner in the head, does not know what guilt is. For Fring, John Doe is not a threat, but a defective element of the system. Doe will send boxes with limbs to Los Pollos. Do you know what Gus will do? He will call the cleaners. He won't even open the second box. He will simply analyze the post office where the package came from and unleash cartel liquidators on Doe. John Doe wants the victim to suffer psychologically. Fring doesn't care about philosophy. He will destroy John Doe as an annoying interference to his busy schedule. There is no biblical justice here, only the dry logic of waste disposal. This is tier D. 100% loss, the fanatic will simply be dissolved in acid.
People will barely be able to comprehend, but they won't be able to deny.
Moving on to Hannibal Lecter, the one played by Mads Mikkelsen, a battle between the two most polite predators in history. This would be an intellectual duel at the highest aesthetic level. Hannibal's power is not in weapons, but in profiling. Lecter is a man who senses your past by the movement of your eyes. A single meeting in the Los Pollos office would be enough for Hannibal to smell a deep, unhealed trauma in Gustavo Fring. He would calculate in a minute what connected Gus to Max Arciniega. Hannibal wouldn't destroy Gus's business network. That's too boring and vulgar for him. He would start playing with the very essence of Gustavo. He would slowly cook Fring, playing along with his thirst for revenge, turning him from a cold strategist into a puppet of his suppressed feelings. Gus's only defense is Mike. But even Mike is just a soldier before Lecter's genius. In Hannibal's world, you become what he wants to see on the plate. And if you don't manage to kill him before he says his first sentence to you, he has already won. I think this is tier A. I'm scared for Gus.
You must allow yourself to be intimate with your instincts, Will.
Amy Dunn. Amy Dunn plays the most devious game of all, the game of reputation. And for Gustavo Fring, this is the most painful point. Gus's only shield is the image of an ideal citizen and philanthropist of Albuquerque. Amy can destroy this shield without firing a single shot. She can frame her kidnapping or death on the territory of the Chicken Brothers, planting irrefutable evidence. A media chaos will arise against which bribes in the DEA are powerless. When millions of eyes are watching your office, the methamphetamine business dies on its own. Amy Dunn is a master of reverse manipulation. If Gus kills her, it only proves the conspiracy theory. This is an information war of annihilation. In this encounter, Amy wouldn't beat Fring in a direct fight, but she would burn his castle, leaving him naked before the law. This is a Tier B stalemate, a war of nerves. A bloody draw. We conclude our list with the King of Strategy and the Golden Lion. Tywin Lannister is essentially Gus Fring born with a 1,000-year lineage. They are identical in their cruelty, the interests of the family, and the house above all. Any incompetence is death, silence is a sign of strength. The difference is in the scale of resources. Tywin would bury Gus in pure gold and an endless army, but in a duel of brains, they would be perfect allies. If they had to go to war, Tywin would use scorched earth politics. All of Gus's blue meth is useless if Tywin simply buys every dealer in Westeros and orders them to be hanged within a week. Tywin knows how to conduct red weddings with surgical precision. In a world where Gus doesn't have Mike, or against him is Tyrion, Lannister would make Fring politely serve him breakfast at Casterly Rock. Tier A, two titans who understand each other perfectly, but one of them is used to ruling the entire world.
I don't believe you.
That's the list, ladies and gentlemen. Write in the comments who, in your opinion, truly deserves S tier. Thank you for watching until the end. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell.